Well, you know, there's a couple things that people are going to be half and half on this. They want to get the city out of debt or continue with the growth. And I think those are the two things that people are going to really be focused on. One of the things I really thought would be great for this is, and my main priority would be smart town growth, meaning to find other ways to really go after grants and funds of things that we can help this town to grow without getting the town more in debt, without asking the people to pay more taxes and continue with that growth. So again, my main purpose is to do a smart town growth, meaning that we're going to go after exactly what the funds are available for us. There really is out there if we make an effort to do that. And then this way we're going to help our town to grow, especially with the parks. I think that'd be a great opportunity to help us grow because our kids, the youth here, need places to be.
One of the things I've been pushing for a few years now is to get a swimming pool in Enterprise. I think it's a valuable life skill that kids need, and it's pretty tough to, you know, say, well, if your kid wants to swim, drive to Vail or drive to St. George or drive to Cedar every day for the lessons so that they can learn that skill. I think it's something that our city is capable of providing and probably should provide. When you look at the portion of taxes that Enterprise pays compared to comparable cities, we do pay quite a bit less than other cities, and if it's necessary, although I'd look for other funding sources first, if it's necessary, a pool could be funded for Enterprise with about a $5 increase per month on a $150,000 home, and that would be about, you know, $2.50 for a $75,000 home, and I think, and that's.
As far as priority and where the funding is going to come from, I think you've heard it addressed by CR and by Mike both, that, you know, parks and entertainment for our kids need to be, I think, a #1 priority. You know, Mike mentioned the pool. I don't necessarily think maybe that's the way to go, because sometimes it's easy to say, well, the city can fund it, but what makes up the city? That's each of us. And if you look at a pool and you look at the expenses that are and tied with a pool, there's a lot of expenses. There's a lot of communities, you know, our size or even a little bit bigger, that are going in a lot of negative numbers running pools and those type of things at this point in time. And if you really start looking at the numbers, I'm not so sure that the $5 is an accurate number on what it would cost for us to maintain a pool here in Enterprise. Whenever you start doing those hard numbers. So my priority would be to give something for the kids, but I don't think necessarily going as big and grandiose as a pool would be. If something like that was going to happen or was desired to happen, I think it would definitely need to be voted upon by each individual within our community.
I don't have any ulterior motives. I don't have a platform. For me, though, for the future of the community, I too think that this is a place I want my kids to come back to. If we don't add to and have recreation, then they're not going to want to come back here. I'm going to end up being here forever because I married Holt and we're not going anywhere. So I want my kids to want to come back here. And as a mom with little kids, there's nowhere to go. And once school starts, there's no playground. So I'm really all for the parks, the splash pads. I'm with Jared on the pool. I ran the Vail pool for 4 years, and I know insurance and I know maintenance, and sometimes it can be astronomical. So, and they all touched on grants and funds. I think it's really important to try to find that money. It's out there if we have someone who's willing to take the time to look for it. That's where I would try to focus.
I think that they're headed in the right direction. They've started another park, and I think that's going to be great. But they'll talk about the pools. They had this thermometer there that how much money was coming in, and I noticed it stopped. Now I think we should do something about that, because this is supposed to be about the kids and the family.
I love what CR said, smart town growth. I mean, up in Layton, the school district combined with the city and built a city pool, and then the city uses it at night and the school uses it during the day, and they share that responsibility. And I'm not say that's the way to go, but I think it's alternative what he's saying. Look out to other means and ways. When I grew up in Washington Terrace, it's just out of Ogden, they built a pool. The city went together with the school district, and built a pool. And it was really cool. I mean, we didn't have a lot to do, but we went to the pool. It was a great thing. It was a great activity. And then, when I turned about, I think 19, just before I was going on my mission, they had a vote to tear the pool down. They didn't want to have the maintenance. The older people didn't want to fund the maintenance for the pool. And so guess what happened to the pool? It's an empty lot today. And I'm just thinking, what a shame, you know. I know we need to put some time and effort, find ways to fund it and so forth. So I love the idea of smart town growth.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
You bet.
A lot of them are saying that the cost of a pool is very high. Have any of you done the research and talked to similar-sized communities that would have similar-sized pools and found out what those real costs are, or are you just going based on hearsay?
Anybody want to answer?
I know that I have done some checking on that, done some talking to other people, other members within our city staff as well, that have done some additional follow-up studies on some of those. Kanab is one that we discussed at great lengths, and the amount of money that it costs them to run theirs. And Kanab actually made the offer to let any of us have their pool. If we just wanted to go and move it, they'd let us have it. So I'm pretty convinced that those numbers are accurate.
For me, I love to swim. I'm not against that. My kids swim like fish. I love that. I think it would be really fun. I don't think you could do it for $5 a month per person. If that's kind of what you're based on, a $150,000 home or whatever, I just don't think that. If someone came and I was elected to the council and they could prove that and it could be done, I'd be right up there helping. But I just don't think it could be done.
You know, the one issue I think sometimes we're dealing with, when I was up in Ogden and some of the school districts, a number of kids were on drugs. And get them in a drug treatment plan, and how much it costs to get those kids off from drugs was astronomical. 20-day program, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars. And then we're talking trying to do things, get kids involved. What do they do around here? Get them involved in anything they can. Pool's the answer, great, let's go that direction. But if not, let's get them involved in something. And if it's cost a little bit, let's use it.
Can I make a statement? I have done the research. I've talked to several different communities. Parowan's annual cost is $23,600 a year on average. Theirs is an older pool. The older pools get, the more it costs. Orderville just built a brand new one. Their annual costs are about $19,800 a month. And based on those numbers, figuring a little bit higher than Orderville's and figuring growth or expenses over time, the $5 is plenty.